have a special guest with us. This is Ms. Wan. And this is Ayi Guzaili, who is the Deputy Director of the Local Tourism Bureau of Yuli County. This is the Silk Road Bazaar of the local place, and this place is very busy, and you can see different vendors here selling goods, and a lot of tourists come especially here to watch this very beautiful poplar season. And this is the season for the poplar to change color. So on the far hand of our lens, you could see the Tarim Desert, and the poplar trees are growing robustly beside the Tarim River and by the desert. This bazaar is quite unique. You can see the different decorations on the vendors. These are colorful cloths and textile. These are all handmade by local people. Here you could also taste the cuisine of the local ethnic groups. There are also different customs that you could experience and performances you could enjoy. This town is also known for the longitude of age of the local people. A lot of tourists would especially come here to watch these beautiful poplar trees and to experience the local customs. This is, as I mentioned, known as the local bazaar, which means market in the language here. So let's check out the bazaar first. Right now it's actually lunchtime. You can see that there are different vendors selling roast fish. This would be a beautiful location, a photo location. You could pose and take pictures. You could see there are the local hats of the Uyghur minority groups. In this county, there are a lot of famous landscapes and tourist destinations with its local characteristics. These are cottons, another famous produce here. These are all developed here, and these products are also made by the factories here. This is a very famous local produce called this is the Aposnium Vietnam products. You could drink them as tea. There are also lamb meat. These are local lamb and sheep, which taste superb. So thank you for that introduction. By the Tarim River, there are a lot of a very abundant local produce for you to enjoy if you have an opportunity to come here. There are also a lot of events that you could participate. So let's continue with our live broadcast. Of course, our highlight here today would be the poplar trees, but we need to. It takes us a few minutes walk to get there. So let's go through the bazaar, the market first before we reach the forests. We could go very close, very near to the poplar trees. Right now, we are approaching the trees that you could see. That pathways are built in between the poplar trees so that you could have a very close contact with this beautiful plant. This must be a great source and treasure for you to develop tourism, right? That is correct. We have a vast land that is planted with the poplar trees. So every year, starting from mid-October, it would be the leaf color changing season for the trees. Thus, the peak tourism season, the peak season for local tourism. So if we come closer into the forest, there are trees that are already withered, but the local administration have built them into this very unique landscape. And also another popular photo location for the tourists. We could take a look at the color of the leaves. They have turned almost completely yellow. So on the same trees, you could find leaves of different shapes. And the branches and trunks of the tree seems to be quite dry, so that they form a very specific view, a picture under the blue sky. So the trees, they've been growing for thousands of years. As the local people who have been coexisting with the poplar trees, they consider the poplar trees their friend and their families, and they also learn from the poplar trees the spirit of growing and prosper despite the harsh environment and different stresses. This would be the Tarim River. The local administration has also done massive work to protect the ecological condition of this place. And here, the clear river water are forming, together with the poplar trees, a very unique picture. You could see this reflection of the poplar trees in the water. The poplar trees on the river banks are actually flourishing more than those that locate farther from this place, because, of course, water content would be beneficial for the growth of the poplar trees, and the yellow leaves will also stay longer due to the abundant moisture and water. There are more than 1 million mu of poplar forest in Yuli County. There is also an Asian village nearby. We will visit this place later to experience the local customs. We are now walking in another zone of the village. You could see poplar trees everywhere around you. And now we will be watching a local performance. So what have you planned in terms of tourism in this section? Well, in this section, we have planned 6 yards that demonstrate different customs. And the first yard we are entering, you could see a performance that showcase the wedding tradition of the local people. The guests, the bride and the groom would be dancing. We call it a line dance. And the bride will be dancing with the bridesmaids, and the groom will be dancing with the best man. This would be the ancient village, and now it has been turned into a cultural experiencing zone here. This would be a performance, special performance to showcase the local wedding tradition. So you could see now the bridesmaids are dancing with the bride, and we call it the cooking dance. This is also a provincial level intangible cultural heritage. So most women here would be taking the role of the housewives, so they would be mostly cooking at home. So this is called the cooking dance. This is a very important responsibility of the married women here. So the lady in the center is obviously playing the role of the bride, and also there are 5 bridesmaids around her. They are dancing together, mimicking this cooking activity. As you can see that probably they are trying to make noodles, I don't know. And the houses and cottage behind them are actually a reconstruction according to the old residence of the local people. So the dancers are also wearing traditional costumes. Now you can see that the host is trying to communicate to the tourists. And right now, the groom is about to take the stage together with the best man. They will be singing for you later, I expect. So this is supposedly a famous singer of the village. This is also a country level in intangible cultural heritage. That is the folk song of the Luobu groups. The lyrics is mostly about the pursuit of a happy life and also the happiness of marriage. We know that the Xinjiang Uygur Autonomous Region is famous for different folk songs and dances. So the local people mostly are very good at singing and dancing. So if you come here, you could see performances like this everywhere and very frequently. So this is like a performance that to showcase the wedding, the marital customs of the local village. They are singing, dancing, singing about the beautiful life and the love between the newlyweds. This has actually vitalized the village. So besides appreciating the beautiful poplar tree forest, you could also come here to know more about the customs. The next dance would be the horse dance. You can see that the dancers are taking the whips in their hand. You can see that the bridesmaid is using the whip to allegedly slap the best man. It's a very humorous performance. It actually symbolizes the bride's wish that the husband must assume responsibility of the family later in their life. You could see that the dancers are forming pairs to carry on the performance. It's a very unique way of showing the local customs. Not only could you appreciate the beautiful poplar trees, but also you could experience and have a very close look of the customs here. We have a long tradition. As the Lop people have a long history of residing here. Although it's just a performance, you could see that it's very well arranged. In this part, it showcases the parents and the elderly's best wish to the newlyweds. A lot of tourists are gathered here to watch the performance. During this process, they could learn about the local wedding tradition. And next would be the part that we could all participate in. The dancers will be inviting the tourists, the visitors, to dance together in circles. So all the guests, if you are interested in, you could be part of the performance. It must be a very unforgettable experience for the tourists who come here at this time. Now you could see a lot of tourists that have already joined the dance, creating a very joyful atmosphere. Next, we will be visiting a home of a Lop family. We must make ways through the crowds to visit a local residence. This place, as you can see, the door of this residence of the house is made of another very popular local tree, that is the rose willow. We are going to take a look at a very distinct way of cloth making called palazi. You can see that this yard is decorated with different patterns of cloths. These are all handmade by local people. And this house is also very close to the poplar tree forest. It is also very close to the river banks. The tree leaves here have turned partially yellow. In this yard, you could see some handicraft. These are handmade decorations and cloths. So this lady here is already over 70 years old, and he is also a national level intangible cultural heritage inheritor of this cloth making technique. This handicraft called the palazi product has been very popular among the tourists. We can take a closer look at this weaving process. We could take a look at the texture of the textile. All of the parts of all of the parts of the weaving machine are made from the poplar trees. After making the cloths, they could be further sewed into different utensils such as bags and clothes and some other decorations. These are all also some wooden wares. These are wooden utensils such as plate. This is actually a decoration that you could hang up on the wall. This is from withered poplar trees on which the local artists draw beautiful paintings. So you could hang this up in your room as a very special decoration. It is hard to find decorations like this elsewhere. This would be a canoe, also made from poplar. It is made from a complete trunk of a poplar tree. The Lop people call this kapeng, which means the canoe. This is one of the oldest means of transportation for the Lop people. In the past, the Lop people's livelihood depend on canoes like this because very often they need to travel across the Tarim River to get to the other side to do business or to do some work. So this is an important and indispensable part of their life. This would be the roast fish, a must-taste cuisine here in this village. So do not miss it if you have an opportunity to come here. I could tell you from here that it smells amazing. Can you tell me more about the roast fish? Well, these are wild fish that we capture from the Tarim River. They are freshly caught and then what would be put up on these shelves to be roasted. Not only does it smell amazing, it also tastes amazing. We local people believe that it's also the secret to the long life, to the longitude of the local people. Well, the peak season for the autonomous region as a whole would be the summer. You might be very familiarized with the local cuisines, such as the plate, chicken noodle, and also the lamb stew. But roast fish like this could not be found everywhere. So if you've come to the Tarim region, do not miss this local cuisine. You can see that the fish are put on the skewers that are made from the tarim, from the poplar trees as well. All right, now let's visit one of the local residents. These are actually renovated from the old residence of the Lop people. Not only does it maintain the traditional styles of decoration of the Lop people, but also it has been especially designed to be an harmonious part of the surrounding environment. This is traditionally a wedding room, a wedding house for the newlyweds. After the wedding, the newlyweds, the new couple, will come here to stay for 1 or 2 nights before they go back to their own house. So this is actually like a publicly used wedding house for the residents, for the villagers here. Entering this place, you could smell this fragrance of the woods, because this house is mostly built with woods. You could see different textiles as decorations hanging everywhere from the ceiling to the ground. It is very beautiful and lovely feast of the eyes. So these are also handmade decorations, cloths, vase, plates. This is also themed poplar trees. I strongly recommend that if you come here, you could buy 1 or 2 pieces back as souvenirs. Now let's go back to the Tarim River banks. This place is actually only about 50 meters from the river banks, so it's not very distant. Now the wedding performance is over, and most of the tourists have already gone back to their journey and continue with their village tour. Inside the village, there are a lot of residents like this to demonstrate the different traditions here. If you come here, you could expand your knowledge and understanding of the Lop people's tradition and history, and also some local produce, such as tea and honey. Also, we have a specially made naan, that is the roasted bread. You can find roasted bread everywhere, or naan everywhere in the autonomous region, but here we have the naan of very distinctive local features. There are also different tastes to them. We mix the naan with rose petals, with honey, with dry fruits, and spice, and so on. Well, I'm sure if the tourists come here, they could have an all-round experience of beautiful scenery, of tasty cuisine, and very diversified local customs and tradition. And autumn would be an ideal season for the tourists to come here to appreciate this beautiful scenery while tasting these delicious food. We are now already walking beside the river banks. Well, we have already walking through the Lop village, and now in front of us would be the Tarim River, also known as the Mother River of the Xinjiang Autonomous Region's people. And by the river, you could see that the leaves of the poplar trees have turned completely yellow. You could take very beautiful pictures even though you do not have a very professional equipment with you. So what suggestions do you have for our tourists if they want to come here? Well, the peak season for tourism here would be from mid-October to November. This would be the most beautiful season for you to not only appreciate the poplar trees with their yellow leaves, but also to appreciate the local customs, taste the local food. This is not only a single tourist destinations. We have a lot of tourist spots nearby, such as the Lop River, the Lop Lake. So you could come to visit all of these places in one visit. So I want to invite all of our viewers to come here when you have time. And I strongly recommend you come here in this golden autumn season. I'm sure that you will not regret the journey. The poplar trees, these vibrant customs, and the tasty foods here will give you a very all-round experience. With the improvement of the local ecological environment, the poplar trees are growing taller and more robust. Thus, also benefiting, creating a more favorable condition for development of local tourism. Therefore, each year, more and more tourists choose to come here to appreciate this beautiful golden autumn in this region. So, thank you. That's all for today's live streaming. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Huyanghe city, which is also known as the city of the poplar trees. When we talk about the Xinjiang Uygur Autonomous Region, we believe that this place is so colorful. There are different landscapes featuring different colors. And of course, the theme color of this season would be gold. The golden yellow leaves of the poplar trees have become a spectacular view in this autumn season here in Xinjiang. So how beautiful is the poplar trees? Are the poplar trees in autumn? Let's take a look. Now let's come back to the live streaming. So the beautiful poplar forest would not be here for us to see without the hard work of the local people. Right now, the people behind me are working relentlessly to build the sapling trees. What's special about this year's seedling season is that all the sapling that we planted this year are male sapling. So why is that? A special quality to the poplar is that it is a dioecious species, which means that the male and the female trees are separated. And so what's special about the poplar tree considering this species, and what planting strategies do we have? We have two guests with us. This is Professor Zhang and Mr. Wang, who are working here. So we have a friend from the academia and also a practitioner here to introduce to you what's special about the cultivation, the seedling and the sapling of poplar tree. I've already mentioned that this tree is a dioecious species, which means that an individual tree would only bloom male flower or the female flower. So you could consider that each poplar tree would have its own gender. On a male tree, it will also bloom, but will not fruit, will not produce fruit. So after flowering of the male tree, they will rely on wind and some other external forces to do the transmission. So that the female trees would be now carrying the flowers. So the pollen would be carried from the male tree to the female tree for it to produce fruits. We could take a look at the sapling here. Can you tell its gender from the look of them? There are 4 seedlings here. Sorry, I could not. They look totally identical to me. So how could you tell? I'm sure that you can. Well, after doing a 5-year research, we now could adopt a genetic biological method to identify the biological markers of the seedlings. In this way, we could expedite the seedling selection process by a large margin. So, Mr. Wang, in the past, how would you determine the gender of the poplar trees that you plant? Well, actually, we do. The poplar trees have been planted by the local people for many years. But in the past, it's quite difficult to tell the gender. currently, we could rely on modern techniques developed by Professor Wang to quickly identify the poplar trees. So how many trees have you planted? How long have you been planting? Well, for me, it has been more than a decade. As Professor Zhang mentioned, in the past, it would be impossible for us to tell the gender in its seedling state. But now, with the biological recognition technique, we could do seedling selection at an early stage, which would save a massive amount of time for us. So what are the seedlings for? Well, these are actually, the trees are planted as part of the shelter belt, and some other trees are also planted in the cities. So right now, we mostly would plant the male seedling, the male sapling, because they are more environmentally resistant and they would not produce the flying seed, which might be quite annoying in spring when they are spreading with the winds, especially for those with respiratory diseases. But they could also trigger some diseases at the respiratory system. So in the past, it would be impossible for us to tell the gender at the seedling stage. So the seedling might grow in the field for many years before we recognize its gender. However, right now, with this new technique, we could tell it at the seedling state. In the past, it would take about at least 6 to 8 years before we could tell the difference. That is, we could only tell whether it is male or female when it in its first flower season. For example, a sapling like this, it would be impossible for us to tell its gender at this stage. With the technique that we recently developed, we could tell the gender of the seedling when they are still growing in a pot. This is a display of the technique. There are 6 seedlings here. We carry on testing of them. The first test would be the test for the markers that is not gender specific. This test shows that all of them are at least poplar seedling. And the second test would be the test to identify the male specific markers for the seedlings. So seedling number 4, 5, 6 are identified with the specific marker, which means that they are the male seedling. This is based on molecular biology technique. With this technique, we could tell whether the seedlings are male or female in a laboratory, in a lab. you could tell the gender even if it's only this tall. You could just simply take part of the leaf. That's enough to do the testing. Well, it's amazing that you could tell the gender of the poplar tree with such a small sample. So how long will it take for you to do the test? Well, each time we could process 100 seedlings. That will take us about 7 hours in total. I believe that you've done this for many years. Yes, this research has already lasted for 5 years and is still going on. And it's very time and energy consuming, I believe. That's true. We need to run different tests on the samples in the lab. So, Mr. Wang, that must be very good news for you. Yes, of course. This ground currently are covered with male sampling. These are seedlings that have already gone through the selection in the lab. And these are male saplings that have been selected. So in the future, this place will be used as a demonstration zone for future forestation. So we talk about the selection of a male sapling. What's so special? What's so good about the male trees? Well, the poplars are an ancient species. The male trees would not produce flying seeds that may become very annoying in spring. And also, the male trees would be more high temperature or saline alkaline land, wind and sun resistant compared with the female trees. So, Ms. Zhang, you are also an expert, right? Yes. So as Mr. Wang mentioned, the male trees are more drought resistant and tolerant, and they are also more disease resistant, and they will not produce flying seeds that might prove to be irritating to the residents. So Mr. Li actually told me a story about the poplar trees that have already withered in part of the region. But from 2000, the Xinjiang Uygur Autonomous Region's local government began to carry out ecological preservation and environmental protection projects. And after their effort, a large number of the poplar trees actually are revived, among which most of them are male trees. So we are deeply shocked by this result. It clearly shows that the male trees are more environmentally stress resistant. That's why we are now carrying out this seed selection process. if the saplings are planted in more places that are drier and are experiencing drought, I'm sure that they would greatly improve the ecological condition of those places. Xinjiang is such a big province that we are accustomed to dividing it into two parts, the northern part and the southern part. The southern part of Xinjiang, that is north to the Tian Shan mountain or the ridge, is warmer but drier. In the northern part, it is cooler, especially in summer, and also it has more rainfall. So besides the Tarim River, you could find a vast land of poplar trees. These saplings are from Poplar, which would help it to adapt to the local environment. So in Poplar, we've adopted these seedlings and saplings, and we transported the sapling here. And now we equip this land with dripping irrigation techniques and equipment to help with the watering of the ground of the sapling. It can save water while greatly ensuring the nutrition and improving the survival rate of the sapling. So this is a very water conservative technique that we applied here. For poplar trees, they are, of course, drought resistant, but if we provide it with enough moisture, enough water, it can grow better. As I mentioned, this place is considered a demonstration ground for the planting of male sapling, and if proven successful, the experience might be also carried on or shared in the urban areas, thus reducing the flying seed problem in the cities. We are working together closely with our colleague from the universities and experts from the university to continue to expand and upgrade the technique, and also we are helping with the dissemination of the techniques. I'm sure that the poplar trees can grow taller and better here. In the northern region of Xinjiang, they have very abundant rainfall, but the dripping irrigation technology can further help us to save water resources. We will also be adopting new technologies to improve the survival rate of the sapling. I'm sure that they will grow very well with your effort and such high tech. So, can you tell us about your accuracy rate of the gender selection technique that you developed? Well, we can now have 100% accuracy in terms of gender determination. We could achieve this result with minimum cost and damage to the seedling, because as you can see, we could do the test with only one part of the leaf. When building the shelter belt, might it be very useful? Yes. When we are trying to build a shelter belt forest, we would mostly like to choose the male seedlings because they are stronger. So, what about the female seedlings? We are also making full use of the female seedlings because they also have their roles to play. They are an important source of the seeds. So we might be more able to have a very precise proportion and distribution when it comes to the percentage of male and female seedlings. So the male and female seedlings are carrying different responsibilities. So if we are now using this technique, we could clearly tell the gender at an early stage. We could determine the proportion of the two genders at an early stage so as to increase the natural seedling accuracy or percentage for the trees. So there are different ways of planting. One sort of seedlings are growing from the root system. Another type of seedlings are growing from the fallen seeds. So these are two different kinds of seedlings. For example, this would be a part of the root system for a poplar tree. If it's a naturally fallen seedling, it would have a main root. The seedlings with the main root may grow better compared to the other seedlings, and they might also be weaker when they grow up. So one of our goals of research is to improve the percentage of naturally planted seedlings. This quality is not gender specific. But I need to clarify that even root like this without a main root can also survive because poplar trees is a very strong species. It could withstand harsh environmental stress of different kind. That's why we see it everywhere in the desert. The root system that you see here is not very abundant, but they may develop they may develop as the years gone by, and they could also tolerate saline alkaline condition, so they could survive and bloom in the desert. We know there's another nickname to the poplar trees. People call it the desert hero. People name it this way to honor its spirit of growing and flourishing despite the harsh environment. This would not be possible without all of these special qualities of the poplar trees. Another thing I like to show you is this piece of artwork. In this frame, you could see that it collects poplar leaves of different shapes to form this beautiful pattern. You could see that the leaves are of different shapes. They are actually from the same tree. That's another distinctive feature to the poplar tree. Can you tell us more about the shapes? Well, you could see there are different shapes. This looks like a willow leaf. This looks like a maple leaf. There are also rounder shapes and heart-shaped leaves. So at least 4 shapes of leaves that we have counted in this piece of work. During our interview, we also encountered a poplar trees with a large part of its trunk and branches that are already withered. That is actually a survival wisdom of the poplar tree. It will voluntarily give up part of its trunk and branches to maintain the nutrition and water in this main trunk. It's a way of survival wisdom for the poplar tree. At the bottom of the tree, you could see these willow-shaped leaves, and on the above of the canopy, you could see more bigger leaves like this. The leaves are important, especially those at the top, at the crown, to do the photosynthetic function. The poplar trees are used to saline alkaline condition and dry land. It can actually expel the salt content from this trunk. It's actually quite salty. The local people sometimes will use it as their food ingredient. So today we learned about the gender identification technique from all of you. So Mr. Zhang, can you tell us more about the technique and have a final conclusion? Well, in the past, we could only tell the gender of the sapling after 6 to 8 years of developed after its first flowering. Sometimes it would be too late, and it's a waste of the resources. So currently, we've developed this technique to tell the gender of the seedling with biological markers technique so as to improve the efficiency of our work. So we believe that the Xinjiang Autonomous Region in the past years have been strengthening protection of the poplar trees and the forest. We could see a massive improvement of ecological conditions in our region. In May this year, the Tarim University actually is part of a satellite launching effort. Right now, the satellite is circulating in a space while monitoring the vegetation changes of this region. So with more and more technologies being applied, we could see more trees, a more robust forest being planted. In the future, we will be strengthening the cultivation of both male and female saplings. We are aiming at choosing the best saplings to be planted in the places where it is most suited. I'm sure that with your efforts, our ecological condition will be further improved. In the past, our main target is to save the poplar forest, but right now we see a bright future for the poplar trees and forest. So last but not least, thank you all for joining today's program. Last but not least, another beautiful scenery in our clip. We will see you next time.